Welcome back everyone to Sudden Wealth. I do hope you're having a wonderful start of the weekend. If you do enjoy the content, please consider dropping that like and subscribe. It greatly helps the channel. Now today I wanted to speak a little bit about one of my retirement bags. I've spoken about X, and now I would like to speak about Pulsechain. So Pulsechain had a sacrifice phase, which means you could basically give away certain of your own coins, depending they were pre-approved coins, via certain blockchains, and you would get a certain number of pulse at a value of 0. And for the first sacrifice of Pulsechain, you had about, I think, close to $700 million, and for PULSEX, you had over $1 billion. Now, as I mentioned before, Richard Hart's documentary will be coming out in the beginning of August, and it's called The Highest of Stakes, which I think will be extremely interesting for you to understand the man behind the project. And as I mentioned before, the way he portrays himself in that time period, it's a bit either you love it or you hate it, or in a very specific case like mine, I've been trained to don't look at the style and just look at the content of what he's saying. And then you just fact check him and you just check the predictions he makes and you make your own conclusions. And my conclusion is he's been way more right than wrong, and he did create a very successful crypto project called X, which of course went up 1,000,000% from bottom to top in between end of 2019 and 2021, but also needs to be said, went down 96% plus. Now, why Pulsechain? Pulsechain was created because execants, meaning people that actually made X stakes, were paying huge amounts of fees in the Ethereum network. And this was actually made worse by Vitalik, which basically made some tweaks on the gas fees, or his team, let's say, which penalized even further projects like X. So what did Richard do? Fork the network and basically try to improve it, make it cheaper, faster, and with the advantage that you would get a copy of your ERC20 tokens. For those who don't know, ERC20 tokens are tokens that you have on the Ethereum network. You would get a copy over into Pulsechain. Why? You would get a copy of the coins, not a copy of US dollar value, because people still get confused somehow with this. You actually, for example, if you have, I don't know, 1,000 Uniswap, you got 1,000 Uniswap coins on the Pulsechain network. And the idea was actually quite simple. Either you would bridge your ERC20 tokens through the most battle-tested bridge that has never been hacked before, and you would basically bring it to the Pulsechain, pair it with your PRC token, so the copies that you got for free, completely free, on the Pulsechain, and that would create a dollar value for that coin. And depending on which, and basically you would create this liquidity pair, and if it was part of one of the farms, you would get a new token, also from Richard, called the incentive token for free. And then the other idea is, if you don't want to go through all this trouble, you actually don't need to bridge coins into your new chain, because you already got copies over there. So if you wouldn't be part of the people who basically get scammed, robbed, hacked. I think there was a recent hack on a bridge that took $200 million. You had one in the past that took $600 million. So basically the idea is that he would solve all that issue. And people at the time knew what Richard could create because they've seen what Hex did. So now what you need to understand is that X was called a scam by everything. It was gate capped on CoinMarketCap. All the influencers were against it. But this time around, even people who called Richard a scammer, who called Hex a complete scam, sacrificed for Pulsechain because those wallets are public, so people could see them. So basically, they were still not capable of talking nice things about X because of, I don't know, because of their pride or whatever, but they were actually sacrificing for Pulsechain and PulseX, which is quite funny, right? And many people, but moving forward to the present, many people got somewhat disappointed with Pulsechain because they thought that Pulsechain was going to go up, I don't know, 100 times from day one, like in 2 weeks, something like that. And people thought they were going to be millionaires instantly. Now, I've mentioned this before. Layer 1 chains did extremely well in the last bull cycle. It was actually the narrative. One of the main narratives of the last bull cycle was layer 1, which means it's less likely that it's going to do so well this cycle, because I'm yet to see one time where a narrative that worked in one cycle works as well in the new cycle. Never seen it before. But in any case, if you actually pull back and you look at the performance of X in the first 3 months and the performance of other layer 1s in the first 3 months, including Ethereum, by the way, Pulsechain is not performing very oddly in that sense. I mean, they are almost performing, at a very similar rate. I mean, I would say Ethereum did perform better, but you also need to understand, we had much less coins in the past, and we are in a period where the Fed and the other central banks have been raising rates at the fastest pace in recent history. So these are things that didn't happen before, so you always need to be a bit careful when you draw these comparisons. But still, we are still in line with other coins. Now, I do expect after August, September, we should start to see some boosts coming in. And, in my first video that I spoke about my retirement bags, in which Pulsechain is one of them, I did mention my cost average. So let's see how it's going to compare in the future. But I do think, particularly by year end, I think probably at least a 10x is quite likely. We'll see if I'm right. Of course, this is not financial advice. I'm not here to give you financial advice. But basically, my second retirement bag after X is a Pulsechain, faster, cheaper version of Ethereum, with the distinction of actually giving the world's largest free airdrop to everyone by giving them free coins already in a new chain, and also other free coins if you decide to bridge your Ethereum counterparties of those coins, make pairs of it, and basically or pairing it with other things to create liquidity amongst those pairs, and basically winning what is called the incentive token. Now, Pulsechain has been working fine, no issues so far. It launched in around the middle of May this year, and the first 4 months tend to be very painful for layer 1s, for the good ones. This includes, I don't know, whatever you may think about the better ones. There's nothing really new about this. But indeed, my expectation is by August, September, we should start to see some fireworks. We'll see if I'm right. And by year end, I do think we're going to see our first 10x, at least. From, when I say 10x, is from day one sacrifice price, which is 0 0.0001. So yeah, we'll see if I'm right about it, and I'll catch you in the next one.